Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I have a couple of very special guests on. This is the Faith Washington Show. We are live on Facebook, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app. Welcome to Dr. Gary Donovitz and nurse practitioner Carolyn Zallmeyer.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Carolyn, you were on a couple weeks ago and letting us know about your practice, which is LowTE of Florida. And Dr. Donovitz is your special associate in Texas that you went and trained under, and he is the CEO owner of LowTE. And welcome.
Thanks.
So maybe you guys can kind of tell me how you met and how that transpired into this amazing business that you both have.
Sure, Faith. I've had a gynecology practice for over 28 years, and I was dealing with a lot of menopausal women when the physician I was working with was writing psych referral in the charts. And finally, I thought, let me have those ladies, let me fix them. They need some help. And so I took them on, and this is back in the days of Premarin. And so I was really getting very good responses that they were feeling so much better. But then the Women's Health Initiative study came out in 2002 and blew that out of the water. So I knew I needed to refocus on something that I knew could be healthier.
And that was blown out of the water because?
Because it showed increased incidence in stroke and heart attack, breast cancer,
yes,
Alzheimer's with Premarin.
Not a good thing.
Right. So I decided that I wanted to prescribe bioidentical hormones, but I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the safest. I wanted to be able to use the right hormone, the right amount, and the right delivery system. So I researched the nation's greats, and I went to Salt Lake City and I studied under Dr. Neil Rousier, and he was fabulous. He knows the research, you know him, inside and out, and he goes on and on and on. So I was so excited. I came home, I was so excited because not only of the feel-good benefits of hormones, but the safety of it, and then also the health benefits, prevention of Alzheimer's, heart disease, supports the breast, the bones. I mean, it's just incredible. But I wasn't learning how to dose. And so I went and I studied under another couple doctors, Dr. Sangeeta Patty, Dr. David Rosensweet, and I kept coming back excited but frustrated because I didn't know how to dose it properly.
And that didn't make you feel comfortable for your patients?
No,
you felt like, wow, I'm just
I
putting
still
in
wanted to be
pellets
good.
and we're not...
We were using creams and patches,
Okay,
and
got it.
I hadn't learned about pellets then. But then one of my colleagues says, you have to go to Texas, you have to study under Dr. Gary Donovitz. I'm like, well, okay. So I call and I get signed up. I go and I study under Dr. Donovitz, and it all came together. It filled in all the little cracks and crevices, and he just really gave us a sound foundation, and then also taught us how to dose properly, using the right hormone, which is bioidentical, the right delivery system, which is the pellet system, and then he taught us how to personalize a dose for every single patient. So you're not getting the same as I'm. We're definitely not getting the same.
Let's hope not.
but we're able to personalize it for that person. So that's what brought me to Texas. And back then, this is 5 years ago, our graduating class was like 30 practitioners, physicians, and I was one of the few nurse practitioners. And now LowTE has grown over the years.
And so how many providers do you...
So we have 3,000 now across the country, and we're training 100 or 110 or so a month. So things have changed. I mean, when I first started doing this, we had 100 slides, and it was a half-a-day course, and now it's 770 slides because the studies have just grown to just defend and show what we're doing is the right thing and the safe thing and the best thing for women. And so now people are coming to us going, hey, can you train me to do this? Can we partner in this? Because so many patients would benefit in our area.
Yes, without a doubt, from physicians and nurse practitioners.
Both, yes.
Yeah, you've got a huge field of people that really need to provide this for their patients. Because as we know, the old ways don't work. And so what prompted you, for your journey, what prompted you to actually begin the pelletized therapy?
So one patient, I had the same problems as Carolyn was having. She was my best friend's wife, and the problem was I could not get her optimized on her hormones. I used creams, I used patches, I used shots. We did everything, pills.
Okay.
And no matter what we did, she was still getting depressed, and she probably needed one of those psychs, but maybe not. And she was gaining weight, and she was tired all the time, all the symptoms, and she felt horrible. And yet, no matter what I did, it just wasn't right. And she never felt like she used to feel when she did feel great. And so she went and saw a physician and actually got pelleted in another state. And she came and called me and said, Gary, this is the best thing ever. And I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard of that. And so I actually went out and trained with that physician who had been a pioneer for 30 years in the area. Hadn't quite put together how to disseminate that information to other practitioners. But anyway, I studied under him and then started treating patients back in Texas. And it was from that I realized this was it. Now we can individualize therapy. The patients feel amazing. They can get off their drugs. And I thought, you know what if we could teach this to everybody? Because the real goal was to make patients feel their best no matter their age. And if we could do that, that'd be the real win-win for everybody, and not worry about all these synthetic hormones and what people were saying. The truth of the matter is, for years, even back to 2002, what Carolyn was talking about is we have focused on the risk of hormone replacement therapy and not the benefits. We need to change that, because the benefits far outweigh the real risk, especially doing it the way that we do.
Yeah, I find that fascinating, because the pellets alone, and I know that much of our audience probably isn't familiar with maybe the size or how you get it in the body. So maybe you guys could just walk us through that so that audiences.
It's a tiny little pellet about the size of a grain of rice, and it's inserted underneath your belt on the backside, just on your upper buttock. And what it does is it raises up the hormones naturally and holds them steady for women for up to 3 to 5 months, men 5 to 7 months. And so you don't have to think about it. You just come up. And any of the other delivery systems, the pills, the patches, the shots, you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
you take in the medication,
down.
you feel great, wears off, you feel horrible. And so you're going like this. And women in menopause, the last thing they need is more of a roller coaster ride. They're on it already.
Yeah, they don't do well on a roller coaster ride at all.
Yeah.
And it's not just pellets. We optimize thyroid. We have our own nutraceuticals, vitamins and minerals, as you would think of them, to give cellular support so you can receive the hormones in the best way possible. So that's a complete delivery system, both for menopause and premenopause. We forget about all those women after age 25 who don't feel good, who are depressed,
have
mood
kids,
swings, have
and
kids.
They're not in that age of menopause yet, and they're struggling.
And they think that, well, it couldn't be my hormones because
I'm too young.
Too young, but that's not true.
That's not true at all. That's something the audience needs to really be aware of, is that.
And the same with guys. Guys start losing their hormones in their 30s, and yet so many wait until they're in their 50s and 60s to start getting treated, but you're giving up a lot of time. You're giving up a lot of deterioration of your brain, your heart, your bones.
So important. That's one of the next things that I wanted to touch on. But I wanted to kind of allow the audience to understand that what you guys are doing is a system. You're not just selling supplements or putting pellets in people. It is a systematized way of looking at this so that patients coming through the door are going to get everything they need individually. So not only are you using a program that you created and developed for the dosing, all right, your practitioner, Carolyn, uses that, and then you have the supplements and things that are going to dovetail with that to give them outstanding results.
Yes, because we've found that if we optimize their nutrients at the same time as we're optimizing their hormones and their thyroid, we get a far better result. If we just take one of the mix, they may feel a bit better, but they're not going to feel as great as they do if they put all three together.
Well, what really separates LowTE practitioners from everybody else, and Carolyn just used the word really, is hormone optimization. Hormone optimization is not hormone replacement. Anybody can replace hormones. Anybody could use synthetic hormones. Anybody could use pills or patches or creams. That's fine. That's not going to be as good as having your hormones optimized to the level that's best for you, and keeping those levels there on a semi-constant basis so your hormones aren't swinging all over the place. So hormone replacement therapy, you take a pill, your hormones go up and down, but have you optimized? No. So that's the problem. With creams, you get wild swings in your hormones, but have you optimized? No. So we have to, one, get away from all the risks that people worry about. That's number one. But number two, what we really need to focus on is how do I optimize my hormones to back where I felt my best when I was in my 20s, if you're a premenopausal woman. And that's what we really do.
And that's part of the dosing, but also it's the special care that you give to patients and that you are both aware of is how do they feel? They come back in 2 weeks and they're like, wow, I feel spectacular. Or maybe 4 weeks later, they're like, oh, you know, I'm feeling kind of a lull here and I felt so great 2 weeks ago. You're able to customize and adjust that.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's really what is going to draw people into this is, as you said, it's that customized optimization for their hormones. And I just can't say enough about it. I'm really quite impressed with the system. And we also spoke about when you, Dr. Donovitz, are coming into a practice, that you're training the front end, you're training the back office, you're training every single person within the staff so they understand how to take care of the patient, how to treat them, how to speak to them.
You know, patients want a partner in their health care.
Yes.
So they may have a friend who has been optimized on their hormones, who has received pellets from Caroline or somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I want to do that. And they call the office, and the front office, if they've never done pellets or they're just starting, may not even know anything about them. And the back office, the nurses and the lab people, they don't even know what labs to draw. And so to be most successful so that you can partner with these patients who really want this care, everybody needs to be trained. They need to understand the hormones. Yes. What are the hormones that we optimize? What lab work do you get? How do you know if you need it? And some simple questions from the front office to the patient could determine who is going to be a great candidate, and then bring them in for Carolyn to actually do the consult on. And they'll already have their lab work. It saves them a day away from work. It makes the staff look like they're professional, and it makes the staff look like they're part of the whole optimization process. And now the staff's partnered.
And they are.
And they are.
And that's the beauty of it. That's what separates you from someone who's taken a weekend anti-aging certification. It's the experience that you've had, 28 years of experience, the 5 years with LowTE, and your staff understanding the importance of all levels of care. I just think the screening, yes, which is very complex, mm-hmm, and affordable, so that anyone can walk through your doors and would be able to take care of this and afford it. And then you are able to give people hope when, if you're depressed and anxious, and even as a guy, you're going through things and you're thinking, what is going on with me? You can come to someone like Carolyn Zallmeyer and actually get treated for what it is that's really disturbing you.
Because I come to work every morning and
energized.
I do, and I have a beautiful office that I come to, but I love coming in here because I get to meet new people, sit across a desk with everybody that comes in here. They're not meeting with somebody in a cell room or anything like that. It's a consultation, personalized. I get to know them, what are their issues, what's bothering them most, and then I can give them hope. Let me draw your blood. Let's get your blood back, run it through our optimization program to find out exactly what their starting dose would be and make a plan for them, and then actually deliver it and make them happy. I mean, it's incredible. I'm very fortunate.
You are, absolutely. And thank you so much for starting LowTE and allowing all these practitioners to be able to do this in a customized way. I'm so impressed. We were also going to discuss, before the show we were talking about this, some of the points that the bioidentical pelletized therapy actually touches on. One of those things is the brain. There's so much dementia, so much Alzheimer's. Speak to us. Talk to us about that.
Half of the population is going to be demented by the time they're 80. So that's a problem because, as you mentioned, anti-aging, I don't even understand what that is. We talk about healthy aging, but anyway, where I'm going with that is people want to live longer, but do you really want to live longer if you've got Alzheimer's and you're demented?
No.
So
the answer to that is unequivocally no.
So then the point is, what if we could reduce the dementia, reduce the Alzheimer's that's out there so that at least you know who you are and your family is, as you age longer. Moreover, wouldn't it be great to feel your best when you're in your 80s and 90s and beyond? But in order to feel your best then, you got to start early. It's all about timing. And Carolyn can probably lead into that.
Absolutely. I have one patient, a female, that comes in for pelleting for the only reason is the protection. She's read the studies on Alzheimer's and prevention. Both parents have Alzheimer's.
Ooh.
She can't afford to get it because she's taking care of them.
Yeah.
And so she's being proactive and getting pelleted. She's not in a relationship. It's not for the sexual feel-good part of it. It's just because she needs to prevent getting herself from getting Alzheimer's.
Wow. Well, I have a giant audience that you guys need to hear this. Dementia and Alzheimer's, please, please, please consider getting the pelletized therapy.
Well, the hormones that we use, both the testosterone and the estrogen that we use, are the two most protective hormones to the brain. So by starting early, and people know, see, you think of Alzheimer's as a disease of old people or dementia as a disease, but the reality is in their 30s, you go to your kitchen or you go to your office or you go to the mall and it's like, I came here for something, but I don't remember what it was. I forgot my keys here. Where did I? So all of those things are signs that your brain is slowing. What we do is optimize your hormones. By optimizing those hormones, we can actually improve blood flow to the brain, get rid of inflammation in the brain, and stop the brain from having that deterioration that causes the cells to die. But you got to start early. That's the key.
Absolutely. I just, this gives people hope for something that is really literally on our minds. I mean, I have lots of friends that have parents that now have Alzheimer's, and they're really struggling to try to take care of them.
Well, my parents are both the same age. They're both 84. My father has dementia. My mother is as strong as a horse, and she's taking care of him. I've hired in a few caregivers from here to there, but she is strong and she's doing it. She's been on hormones for 40 plus years. He never optimized his hormones. He never had his testosterone. So it really makes me wonder if we could turn back the clock, if we could have optimized his hormones when we did hers,
Maybe
we would have a different ending.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah. And then also, that goes right into the heart, because heart disease is...
Well, February's Heart Month.
Yes.
So it's a great time, even if you're not thinking about the sexual benefits or the energy or the sleep or the brain function. February's Heart Month. It's a great time to say, you know what? I have family members who've had heart attacks or
strokes, anything.
Heart failure. What could I do to see am I going to have problems with that? Because you are at risk. What could I do about my hormones? Because there's no question that optimizing your hormones, including thyroid, could significantly reduce your risk for cardiovascular disease. It's the one gift you can give yourself in February. I know you want flowers, but the reality is, in addition to your flowers, you ought to think about getting your hormones checked, just as a gift to yourself.
Agreed. I agree totally. Carolyn, where can our audience find you?
We have a website, LowTE Florida, spelled out, .com, LOWTE Florida.com, or you can call the office, 954-791-4498.
Give me that number again.
954-791-4498.
Perfect. And how can practitioners contact you, Dr. Donovitz?
So they can go to biotmedical.com.
Okay.
And there's a Find a Practitioner site right on there, and then they can call us and join in with all the other 3,000 practitioners across the country. We are changing healthcare, and we are making people happier.
Yes, and that's what we need.
Right.
We need people to join in, and the more people who begin to understand this, even if you are on the leading edge. You know what? The people on the leading edge we're not always the most popular people. I know that from my own practice, but it really, truly is life-changing. And then that brings us into okay, this is one of my favorites, how you get great results with your workouts. If you're on hormone therapy and you have already taken a dive and you come in and you get your screening, you get pelletized, how's this going to help your workouts and help you to kind of lose body fat and increase lean muscle mass?
I'm hearing from my patients time and time again that once their hormones are optimized, that they feel better, They wake up, they feel more like getting out and going to the gym.
So
when
more
they get
energy.
there, they have more energy, they feel more like working out, and when they do, they can run further, lift heavier, they just feel better. They can rebuild muscle after 50. You can't do it without the hormones.
No, and there's a number of things that you don't think about. Number one, if you don't sleep well, you don't eat well. So because optimizing your hormones,
Number one.
right, you're going to sleep better. That makes you eat healthier.
Yes.
All right. Now you eat healthier. So many women say, I have a trainer. He charges me all this money, but I'm not leaning out. Well, you will not lean out if your hormones are not optimized, including thyroid, including testosterone. Guys will say, I work out, but I'm actually losing muscle. How's that possible? It's possible because your hormones are not optimized. So doing what we do makes your workouts way more beneficial, and because you're now starting to see positive results, it makes you stay with your hormone optimization, and it changes your life at home and at work. You have way more energy, you feel better, and you look better.
And you just, it's like a wholeness. Mm-hmm. It's like that integrity of your being. If one area of your life is off, whether it's work or your home or just feeling physically blah, then that creates problems in every single area. And if we can optimize the hormones, everything else falls into place. As strange as that sounds, you get rid of the anxiety, you get rid of the depression, you get rid of the fog, brain fog, especially when we take care of the thyroid, which is your master gland. So critically important. It's not just your testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. It's literally, okay, if your thyroid is off at all, you drink a lot of bottled water, you do a lot of dioxins because you're using plastic in the microwave, that's an issue.
And it's an issue for a lot of people.
Many people. And
50 million Americans, their thyroid is off.
Exactly. And you know something? Regular allopathic testing, all right, regular doctor, you go to your general practitioner, someone else tests it, and you can be within normal limits. I call it the box, within normal limits. You might be in those limits, but you may feel like crap. Yeah. The box. I always call it the box. I'm out of the box.
But it's so true because you've been told that your thyroid is normal.
It's fine,
but here's the
it's
difference.
not.
Optimal and normal are not the same.
Yes. Optimal for you. See, I'm a type A, so within normal limits. Here's the lower limit. Here's the upper limit. This is where faith runs best.
Yeah.
Faith isn't going to run down here. Faith can't run at midway. I got to be up here. And that's exactly how it works. Every person is different. So we're able to figure that out with the therapies that you've created, Dr. Donovitz, and I'm amazed, just completely amazed. You guys have to come and see them, all right? Seriously.
Thanks,
Absolutely. And here's another really important point, and you touched on this in the beginning. Breast cancer, prostate cancer. Now, those are concerns with the synthetic hormones, all right? The things like the Premarin, et cetera, the injectables. But here, now we know that we can customize and optimize with the bioidenticals. What then does that do to your risk factor with these cancers?
Well, there's actually been 3 studies that have been done. And if you want to reduce your risk for breast cancer, being on bioidentical testosterone is your best shot at reducing your risk for breast cancer. It was the synthetic progesterone that caused the problem. Even in the Women's Health Initiative, even in that study, using Premarin alone, there was no increased risk in breast cancer. And yet that never made the cover of Time magazine. We've got to get away from what we believe are these fictitious risks because it keeps women from taking their hormones. If you think about 80% of women quit taking their hormones after the Women's Health Initiative, and look how many people died because of that. We lost a generation of women. Now we're going to recapture this next generation by explaining to these women that keeping your hormones optimized, bioidentical hormones like Carolyn uses, will actually improve your life for a very low risk. And in fact, at BioTE, we've tracked the last 600,000 procedures that we've done. Our complication risk is less than 1%.
I don't know if you understand these numbers, but that's an insanely low level.
And so where are all these mysterious risks that people talk about? Let's talk about the benefits to the brain, the heart, the breast, the bones, and the prostate. Let's focus on feeling better and having more energy and sleeping better and having better relationships because our sexual drive is there and sexual performance is there. Let's focus on losing weight across the midsection. Let's focus on our bodies looking better, which is better for our self-esteem. Let's focus on those things because the risks really don't exist.
I love that. This is just the best information. Folks, you need to go back 2 weeks ago, go on to the Faith Washington Show page, watch my interview with Carolyn Zahlmeyer, nurse practitioner here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We are on Federal Highway 4540, North Federal Highway, and please, please, please make an appointment and come and see her. And anyone who's a practitioner, if you're a provider and you're interested, you should be interested, very interested, in learning more about BioTE, the entire system. We have Dr. Gary Donovitz, who trains providers and their teams to do this optimization. And this is one of the most exciting things to hear, and I thank you so much, both of you, for being here. And once again, tell us how we can find you.
You can find us at lowteflorida.com or call the office 954-791-4498. On our website on LowTE Florida, we have this book available for you, written by Dr. Donovitz.
Yes.
It's a fabulous book, and
it
helps explain everything that we do, the safety, the health benefits, and it just kind of helps give you a better comfort level with what we're doing.
Right.
So we offer it free. If you want to go onto our website, we'd be happy to mail it out to you.
And how can they contact you, the providers?
So if they want to find a provider in their area, or if they want to become a provider for BioTE, they can go to biotemedical.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you both so much. Folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening on the Faith Washington Show. And we are live on Facebook, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app. Have a great night. I'll see you next week.